City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.
Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. The new $2 million Stratosphere restaurant has opened at Skyline. Lakes DHB will mark White Ribbon Day with official recognition events celebrating its family violence intervention program. And locals are invited to make up a team for the new Cheeky 9 golf competition. Skyline Rotorua launched its new Stratosphere restaurant last night, inviting 200 guests from the hospitality and accommodation sectors. Skyline have spent $2 million upgrading the restaurant and creating an innovative experience, which includes live chefs cooking made-to-order, fresh, delicious cuisine. Skyline Rotorua CEO Bruce Thomason says the upgrade of the restaurant comes on the back of some in-depth local research.
You know, the investment required to keep the city vibrant and refreshing. We've been here since 1986, and the company has invested in a number of additions to luge, mountain biking, zip line, jelly belly, market kitchen, and the restaurant is just a natural one that we have to keep ourselves refreshed and keep getting visitors coming back and doing more. And you know, our research said that the city needed a great restaurant, and we wanted to deliver that.
Also at the launch were 2014 MasterChef winners from Makatu, Karenga and Casey Bird, who were honoured and excited to be a part of the celebration launch.
So tonight we're cooking mussels out of the new Tidal mussel tank in the new Stratosphere restaurant, so we're pretty excited. Yeah.
And you're excited to be here?
I'm really excited to be back. We've been sort of like all over the country, and it's really nice to be somewhere that's really close to home. So Skyline actually asked us if we wanted to book a hotel to stay in tonight or Rotorua. We're like, nah, I'll drive back to Makatu because I can't wait to wake up in my own bed.
And Mayor Steve Chadwick told City News that the top-class venue would be a valuable addition to the local hospitality scene.
This is a great investment. It shows confidence in Rotorua, and we're very thrilled. And good food, elegant dining, a good place to come for a total experience.
White Ribbon Day is fast approaching, and Lakes District Health Board is combining marking the day with activities to celebrate the first birthday of its restructured Family Violence Intervention program. The program offers training to family violence intervention and response staff, as well as operating a shaken baby prevention program. Events planned include a public display in the hospital atrium and an opportunity for visitors and staff to add their own personal message to a safe house created by the Children's Unit Playroom. Also on display will be artwork supporting the kaupapa contributed by the Whare Whakawe Unit and Lakes DHB's Mental Health Inpatient Unit. Family Violence Intervention Program Coordinator Jenny Weston says the DHB wants to acknowledge the support it has received from the community family violence agencies and the importance of working in partnership with the community to provide an effective response to domestic violence. For more information, visit lakesdhb.govt.nz. Work is underway on sections of the median strip on Fenton Street near the Stir Howard Morrison Performing Arts Centre and Police Station. District Councillor and Inner City Revitalisation Portfolio Lead Karen Hunt says the works are designed to improve traffic flow as well as provide easy access for pedestrians to cross Fenton Street safely. Traffic is reduced to a single lane, so the council is asking people to be patient and careful for the short period while roadworks are underway. The project is scheduled to take approximately 3 weeks. In sport tonight, a new golf competition is about to launch in Rotorua that aims to provide a new alternative to the business house social sports like soccer and bowls.
Cheeky 9's a format that was tried last year up in Auckland at, I think, North Shore and another club as well. It's a very informal 9 holes of Ambrose, but it's designed for the 20 to 35-year-old age group, which is the age group that are playing less these days, so it's a fun format, trying to attract them back in it. It's informal, it's got some fun sponsors like Sapporo and Charlie's, and so it's sort of grabbing those ones that aren't necessarily members at the moment but still want to play and have some fun.
To your weather update now. Tonight, cloudy periods with the odd shower developing, westerly winds and an overnight low of 7. Tomorrow, Thursday, fine apart from evening cloud, westerlies, a high of 16 and a low of 7. And the outlook for Friday, mainly fine with evening cloud, westerlies freshening, a high of 19 and a low of 10. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, southwest 15 knots, becoming westerly to 10 knots in the evening, with waves less than half a metre. There'll be morning cloud and then fine. Still to come in tonight's show, we have extended coverage and interviews from last week's Armistice Day commemorations.
Dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you here to the 96th anniversary of Armistice and Remembrance Day. I'd like at this point, without any further introduction, to welcome our officiating minister, the Reverend Tom Puata.
Tēnā tātou katoa ngā toe ngā mōre hu o rātou. Te matu e te kei kei te hei tunu ngā mihi kia ngai tāu nei ngā uri, ngā mokopono o rātou, ngā me kūtūra. Welcome to this, as we said earlier, the 96th commemoration of the signing of the armistice. It is always a pleasure to come and to offer blessings in both our memory and in our lives for those whom this obelisk behind me represents for our purposes today. Remembering, of course, that we are surrounded by an enormous cloud of witnesses from all the four corners of the earth, and they gather with us spiritually as we remember. So I pray that God will guide us in our thinking, in our speaking and in our doing throughout this parade, and bless us as ever and the memory of those who have fallen before. And we ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Kia ora, everybody, good morning. A real honour for me to be here this morning. Can I apologise for being a little bit late? I flew in from Wellington and Air New Zealand got me to arrive just slightly behind the time that I hoped to. Can I say what a very important occasion this is? 100 years ago this month, 8,500 young New Zealanders set sail with their comrades from Australia to the shores of Europe to fight in the Great War. And all over New Zealand, this last weekend, today and this week, New Zealanders come together to remember, and I think it's only fitting that we do. Great to see young people here who to show their respects as well.
I'd just like to acknowledge your invitation and the work of the RSA and the members today. It is a significant day, and for me personally it is an honour and a privilege to stand in front of you all. I haven't reached my 40s yet. I know I look old. That's about 4 or 5 weeks in Parliament, but it is an honour to stand under our flag. It is an honour to stand before this obelisk today, and I would like to acknowledge the men and the ladies who are sitting with us today. They are men and women who fought righteously, and I acknowledge Todd's words. They are part of the reason why we have and live in the country that we are able to live in today. So I acknowledge you and thank you all, and I acknowledge all the men and women here today. Thank you very much for the privilege.
Tēnā koutou katoa and good morning everybody. John, I want to acknowledge you for your leadership with the RSA, with Kathy beside you. Reverend Tom Puata, we go out everywhere together and it's delightful to walk beside you. Our Minister, Todd McClay, and Fletcher Tabato. It's wonderful you could come and that Parliament's not sitting, for you to see and experience the richness and the depth in our community. To all of the veterans here today and those supporting them, including the cadets and the piper. We have had our parade on Sunday, marking 150 years of our cadet service, and we had a wonderful parade and meeting here on Sunday commemorating that aspect of the Great War. And for us, I am chairing the World War I committee. So there's a wonderful committee representative of our whole community that are looking at how we mark significant events during that mark the Great War. And it's a community-led committee, and we're thoroughly enjoying it, and the ideas are flowing, and some of them are beyond our expectations, but you can be sure there will be a program of events to mark World War I. But today we're marking the signing of the armistice that ended World War I and commemorates the sacrifice of those who died in serving New Zealand in World War I and all wars and armed conflict. And I find myself thinking about what is happening in the world around us today, and it's quite perplexing and overwhelming. I imagine that those who signed the armistice on the 11th of November 1918 had great hopes that global conflicts like World War I would never be repeated because of the lessons learned. So I want to thank you all for coming today. It gives us great hope to see the young cadets and certainly those older veterans. Thank you, Don. I saw that attention. But we feel particularly heartened, all of us, that the movement and the understanding of those working towards peace and sorting through conflict, as New Zealand does so well, is in wonderful hands of our young people. You give us all great heart that you've made the effort to turn up today with your Commander Breen to show your contribution, and Heidi, having you here too with your leadership, showing our young people that their contribution makes a huge difference, is really heartening to all of us here today. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa.
Well, a very special day, Armistice Day, on the 11th of November 2014. I'm joined now by the President of the local RSA, John Trainer. Kia ora, John.
Hi, kia ora.
Well, we're here in front of the cenotaph, the
Yes.
World War I cenotaph.
Yes.
Can you share your feelings regarding the proceedings this morning?
Every year, every Armistice Remembrance Day, every Anzac Day has special meaning to me personally. It has deep meaning to me as the President of the Rotorua RSA. And first of all, it has meaning to me because I've had family members involved in all conflicts that New Zealand's been involved in, from the land wars right through to the current operations in East Timor and the Solomons.
And for a very peaceful man and a very gently spoken man, it's quite a contrast to have had war so thoroughly through your personal history.
It is indeed, and I guess it's a family trait to be quietly spoken and not to be over-assuming on anything. But there are deep memories and experiences, some that you don't wish to share and others that you feel have to be shared.
What are some of the experiences shared today that, for those that weren't able to make it, you'd like to convey the feeling of what was here today?
Well, it's a deep feeling of comradeship, camaraderie, and you know that a lot of your comrades are not here for one reason or another. They either didn't come home They have died of illnesses as a result of their service overseas, and for other reasons they're not able to be present here today. So as you go through the sequence of the service, you think of those people, you think of why they're not here today, you think of those that are ill because of their war service and who are not able to be present. So you share all those feelings, you think of your youth and the time that you were serving your country. And for the older veterans who are no longer with us today, they served their king and their queen and their country. I served my queen and my country, and my whānau, of course. Yes.
And your whānau.
Yes.
Speaking of whānau, there is going to be a bit of a whānau atmosphere back at the RSA for a sticky bun.
Oh, indeed.
So
indeed.
As well as the quiet time and the remembering,
yes.
Lots of happy times surely, seeing old friends, catching up.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. It's and I look around here now and I see a few that I want to catch up with and just share those experiences and where we're at now and where we are hoping to go in the future.
Something very special happened today, something perhaps it hasn't happened in the entire 96 years of remembrance here in Rotorua. Could you share that very special experience with us?
Ai, tēnā koe anō. This year, 96th year of Armistice Remembrance Day, we have a Cadet Sergeant Major who was our Parade Marshal this morning. There has been a very strong focus in recent years that we be more inclusive of youth. And this year in particular, there have been many organisations ranging from the Mayor down through the RSA and other community organisations to take note that we have youth that are going to be taking over from us, and it was for this reason that I invited the cadet unit to provide the parade marshal.
And so how did that feel? Quite an honour, no doubt.
It was. You know, you get freak out, nerves kick in, but other than that, you know, do it for our fallen veterans.
Your family, do they have a history in the services?
Yeah, my great-grandfather was in World War I, and so I'm here for him as well, so absolutely.
I'm sure he would be very proud.
Absolutely.
Of your family proud?
Yep, my dad's here at the moment over there, so yeah, we a great achievement for myself.
Absolutely, something to be remembered. Thank you so much for sharing and well done. Looked very flash indeed.
Congratulations. Well done. Thank
Kia
you.
ora.
This is a wonderful day to mark those who served, those who lost their lives, but also to ask ourselves what is the point of conflict. And we're facing that again as a dilemma as a country about the extent of engagement in global conflict, and that is nice to be joined by our MPs today so that they can take the message home that really we don't seem to learn about active engagement and conflict. It just keeps repeating. But wonderful to see young people here, and that was the focus of my address, that it's wonderful that the forces have got a cadet feeder into them, and what wonderful careers they have, and they will find internationally that New Zealand can hold our head high, and I am heartened to see them there. And for veterans, they want to know that their active engagement wasn't for nothing, and that's where they feel heartened today. So I love our service down here, and joined by some Australians this morning. That's lovely. That's the spirit of Anzac, and we're going to be marking many events over the next 4 years to mark the centennial of World War I, and there's some great ideas in the pipeline, so there'll be many little events like this that we will be rolling out.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned there was the youth, and wasn't it wonderful to see the young Sergeant Major Cadet leading the ranks today?
That's right.
I also picked up on something you said in your speech, Steve, about our community and how we can focus on how wonderful our community is, and making sure that we honour their memory by living in a good way in every way.
Avoiding conflict in our homes and our families, and that's when we feel we are doing something, because it can be too overwhelming globally, but I believe if we look after and nurture our children and our families as the backbone of our community, we are doing something toward becoming a peaceful nation.
Thank you so much, Your Worship. Steve Chadwick, thank you.
So very important that people from Rotorua know what's happening during this year and next year when it comes to remembrance. So many thousands of New Zealanders gave up their liberty, their lives, to make sure that this was a free and democratic country. And I know that throughout schools in New Zealand this week, but all other parts of New Zealand, people will take a moment to remember. 100 years ago this month, 8,500 young New Zealanders joined Australians and were on a ship and went to fight in Europe. It was a huge sacrifice. Whilst for many 100 years ago will seem a long, long time ago, it's really important that we keep remembering, and Rotorua can be proud of the service here today.
Well, we did see the young Sergeant Major Cadet out the front leading the ranks, so nice to see youth coming up in the community. And Steve also mentioned, having a positive community. With your work, you said you're just flying back from Wellington. Everything well down there?
Yeah, working really well. So we have a 2-week recess now, so that means Parliament's not sitting. And it's really an opportunity to, get out and about a lot more here at home and the electorate, but also with some of my new responsibilities as a minister pulled to other parts of the country. So I'm really enjoying the responsibilities I've been given, finding a good balance between the extra workload in Wellington, but making sure that I'm just as available here at home. And for me, the most important part of my job as a local MP for Rotorua is being available to local people. So with my very able staff, we're working really hard to make sure that we're out about as much as we can be.
Just last weekend we saw about 200 people march through the city in protest to the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. What's your take on that?
The TPP agreement, which is still under negotiation, is about increasing New Zealand's access to some important markets. And every time we're able to put in place a trade agreement, it means that businesses in New Zealand get to sell products produced in New Zealand to those countries, and ultimately it just means jobs. So we need to balance this out, though. There are concerns, particularly around Pharmac and some of the investment criteria. Look, I think that from all that I am aware of, the government, the Prime Minister, has said that these are very important to us as well. We're not going to do something that's not good for New Zealand, but we need to be focused on opportunities to be part of a global trading world and job creation all over New Zealand, particularly here in Rotorua.
That was the Honourable Todd McLeay, Rotorua MP, talking with Kitty Danielle at last week's Armistice Day commemorations. If you'd like to contact the show, you can email news@tvrotorua.co.nz or phone 07 3488 984. Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team here at City News, Ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.